Okay, hi everybody. Let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, so right now I'm starting a mini webinar series. So welcome to the very first one called Clever Quick Wins. These are going to be some topics that I think will be helpful for you and your team as you're starting to plan for back to school and start connecting with districts again. Additionally, this webinar will be recorded and sent out, so feel free to send this over to anyone on your team that may not be here today or may have missed this. And then, as always, feel free to give me any feedback regarding, these quick win webinars if you have any topics that you'd like to request, open to all of that and hoping to have more of these in the future. So really quickly, before we get into the topic, I just wanted to introduce myself again and my co-presenter. My name is Christina Cruz and I'm your program manager.
Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria, and I'm a member of our Enterprise Customer Solutions team, and I'm really excited to be presenting today.
Thanks so much, Victoria, for joining us. So great. This is our agenda for today. First, we'll be going over how to use the filtering tool in your dashboard and some of the limitations. Then we'll chat about the district setup feature to help you streamline your connections with districts. And then we'll have time for a live Q&A at the end. So be sure to use the Q&A console at any time that any questions come up, and then Victoria and I will be able to live answer them. So for now, I will hand it off to Victoria to get us started.
Okay, great. So one thing we see pretty commonly with our app partners is that districts will be setting up their sharing permissions and they end up sharing a bit too much data. So in order to make sure you are receiving the correct amount of data from a district, applications can create filters to ensure you only receive what you need. And this will allow you a little bit more control and you'll be able to enhance your integration quality. So first, who can create an app side filter? You must have a Clever account. And on the team page, permissions can be set for each member. So you'll see on the screen here, in order to be able to edit, you must have data pipeline filters set to can edit. If you have an admin account, you'll be all set for this. If you do not have an admin account, this will need to be edited to make sure it's on can edit, obviously. All right, and then how does it work? You can kind of take a look at that GIF or GIF. I still don't know how to say that, but for each district, you'll find a filters tab and you'll be able to select create a filter. You'll be able to select which schools should be included in the sync. You'll be able to then filter by subjects, grades, and terms, again, which ones that should be included. You'll be able to preview that data and then you essentially just apply it. And then if you go back to the filters tab, you'll be able to see the results of your filter under final data. So a couple of things to remember. A good way to think about filtering is that we are allowing, or you will be allowing sections through that meet any of the criteria you selected. So filtering can be a little bit, the word filtering can be a little bit counterintuitive. So you kind of want to think it as what you are allowing through to sync. You can filter by subject, student grade, and section grade, but this can provide a little bit of confusion or limitations. So I wanted to go over first the difference between subject grade and section grade. So that difference is section grade filters share sections where the section grade listed in the rule meets your criteria that you have selected. Student grade filters share sections where the section has at least one student with the grade listed based on the criteria you selected. So for example, say you only want 6th to 8th grade sections to sync. This means that any section with these grades, regardless of the individual student enrollments, will be pulled in. So say you select 6th to 8th grade, but a 5th grader is in a 6th grade section. They will still sync over because they are included. Even if you were to filter it down by student grade, that would still happen based on our logic for student grade. So unfortunately, there isn't a way to only show sections where, based on my example, all of the students are in 6th to 8th grade. There might be some other students that end up filtering in outside of those grades. So a way to work around those limitations is always to reach out to the district and see if they can edit their sharing permissions within their dashboard. And you can always ask Clever support to kind of assist with that as well. And the last point I just wanted to make is that filters can take up to 24 hours. Sometimes they can take much shorter amount of time, but this will just depend on how large that district is. Okay, and then if you want to check to make sure that filter worked, this is what you would see in the app dashboard. So you'll see under that filter tab under final data, that is what your application would be receiving. So after you apply the filter, you can always look at that to see those exact numbers and see if that makes sense or if you need to do any more edits there. And then we'll just show you what the district sees really quickly, kind of similar view. For each of their connected applications, they will be able to see the filter right in the middle. They can click on that filter to see what schools are being included and what schools are being excluded. And then they will also be able to see what the application is receiving, which you'll see to the right-hand side of the screen.
Okay, thank you so much, Victoria, for sharing all of that. So the next tool that we'd like to share with you today is our district setup feature. You can see this tab if you navigate in your dashboard on the left-hand side, if you navigate to settings, and then you'll see this district setup tab. And this tab has a few tools to help streamline the process of getting districts set up with your application via Clever. And I'm gonna just go over two of the top tools that you can see here in this screenshot. So this first one is the globally recommended sharing feature. This is a way to suggest the correct users and rosters your application needs from the districts. There's plenty of options for your team to suggest to districts on how to share data with you. And this includes sharing certain schools to more specific rules, such as sharing certain grades and sections. So for example, if you know your application is a middle school math students, you can suggest that for the district to share all students 6th through 8th with the subject math in the section. Something important to note is that the globally recommended sharing feature is for districts who are connecting with your application for the very first time. And this is applied to all districts who are connecting with you for the first time. For districts that you're already connected with, you can suggest new sharing rules in their individual district overview page, and this will be done on a per district basis. This next feature is the custom setup wizard. All districts will go through a general setup guide where they connect to your application on Clever. This guide will walk them through 3 steps. The first step is sharing data. This is where those globally recommended sharing rules are surfaced to the districts. The next step is the district will be able to review and resolve any data errors. And finally, the district will view a custom message from your team if you choose to include one. The custom message is the perfect place to tell the district administrators anything that's pertinent to know, such as any additional setup steps they may need to take once in the application, login instructions, or just letting them know that someone on your team will be in touch. Once that is set up, something else that I want to share with you is that at any time you can check if data is being shared with you under the sharing tab of the individual district overview page. Here you can see if the district is, the number of schools and teachers, sections, and students that the district is sharing with you at any time. And then you can see which sharing rule is, being used from the district to your application here as well. Again, once the data has been shared with you, you can check for data warnings and errors in the district overview tab, in the warnings tab. If you'd like any updates to any of your data warnings or errors, you can contact me at app-success@clever.com or contact Clever support. So should you come across any questions in the future about filters or the district setup feature, or you're finding that districts are still not sharing data as accurately as you'd like, please feel free to reach out to our support team for the quickest way to get help around this. On Thursday, we'll be hosting another Quick Wins webinar about how the district sharing permissions work and how to communicate with them and what it looks like on their side specifically around this. So let me know if you need that link in the chat, and I will send that to you so you can register. With that, I'm going to leave time for any questions that you might have. So Victoria and I will be answering live. So if you have any, feel free to put in the Q&A console and we'll get to them.